Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Tuesday, June the 20th. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. We do create multiple hypotheses in order to have a plan in place for whatever the market throws at us. We do not know what the market is going to do. We can only have a plan for each instance of what we think it's going to do, and then execute the plan that best suits what the market is doing once it shows its hand. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the pre-market session. Then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a retail environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, so just taking a look at yesterday. Yesterday we had our breakout day. We opened auction, whoops, wrong one. We opened auction out of range. We had gapped up. So one of our hypotheses was a gap and go. That was hypo 3, and leaving the gap alone, and then going up and hitting and testing into the 2450s. We rallied into the 2450, then basically went sideways as we found new balance in around the 47-48 area, and then we pushed up and made a new all-time high at 5150, came back and closed near the balance. Overnight so far, we are about 50% net short, maybe even a little bit less, but we went up and we tested that 5150, failed to get above it, rotated back down into that balance around the 47-48, and then we just had a bit of a sell-off coming in and actually testing back to the midpoint from yesterday at the 45 and creating a weak low. Expecting this to come down even further. I'm projecting a move back down into the 42-43 area coming into this open if we break this 45. Just taking a look at the news. We had Canadian wholesale month over month came out as a beat, 1.0 versus 0.5. Current account was minus 117, so it was better than expected at the 124 billion. 9 o'clock, we've got China CB leading index. We've got New Zealand's GDT price index, but that's tentative. And then the only other thing we have is FOMC member Kaplan speaks. Now remember, we've still got all the chatter and the headline news about Brexit this week, but we got a very, very light schedule in terms of scheduled reports coming out. Taking a look at the macro to micro, I always like to start my day using a simple candlestick chart. And I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA. I'm looking for slope and separation, where we are within the trend. Any type of candlestick pattern or chart pattern that jumps out at me that might be relevant to my trading day. Beautiful upward trend, putting in new all-time highs. Trend is nowhere to be close to getting broken until we get into the lower 2300s on the monthly. On the weekly, same thing. We came back, tested the 20 twice, and bounced and get continuation. Trend is definitely up. We don't even challenge the trend until we get back down to 24-12.50 on the weekly. On the daily, you can see that we challenged the 20, beginning of the end of last week a couple times, but they kept on buying it up. Look at all these buying tails. And then we go and put in the new all-time high. We do have a lower high so far today. So far today is an inside bar. A move back to close this little bit of a technical gap will take us back down to the 24.3672. I'm looking at 38 area. Taking a look at the intraday, going to the 4-hour, You can see we did have a FUBAR, Mr. Sneaky, comes down, closes the technical gap right now. If we break below the 44, a test of the 20 will take us down to that 36.75 area. There is a naked cross down here. It is on the 4-hour though, all the way down to 32.75. So not necessarily going to get hit today, but definitely a target to us that follow the naked crosses. Down to the 1-hour, we have a break below the 9. So as we move down in time, in time frame, we can see that we're starting to get a little bit of a start of a downward trend. There is a naked cross all the way down here at the 31.75. You can see that as I move down in the time frame, we're getting this rounded top here and possible inverted cup and handle. So even though it's rolling over, a move back up to form the handle would not be unexpected. Going to the 30-minute, you can see that we've accelerated on the 30 minutes to the downside, now starting to get the slope and separation. Again, there's a naked cross all the way down here at the 28.75 area, and you can see this, this rounding top, okay, setting up here. Going to the 15-minute, again, you can see the acceleration, more slope, more separation, coming down, creating this downward trend on the shorter time frame. And then on the 5-minute, you can see we came down, failed to get back above the 9, failed off of it, and getting continuation to the downside. So as we move into the smaller time frames, we are seeing some selling coming in, but it is on the smaller time frames. That's the key point. The larger time frame, the trend is still up. So taking a look at where we are within the structure, we created this how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So after the breakout of the balance here, we come up, we create this balance. It was a double distribution. You can see that as it matured, it got much more Gaussian-like. Still a little bit of undetermined fair value between 31.25 and 27.25, but then we get our breakout day, and we are currently sitting above the prior range high at the 43.50, the prior all-time high, and we're above value, which is down here at the 35.25, and then once we get back inside of value, likely come down to take out this naked close and the gap that we've created here, and rotate down towards this this right here. This chart is a little bit off. Why is this chart off? You're gonna have to fix that. But taking a look at yesterday and overnight. Overnight, our high is 51. So 51. All-time high is 51.50. So far, our low overnight is 44.75. Now we're trading right there, so we're likely to expand that. But for the purpose of this, we're going to just put it in there. Doubt that we're going to get a VPOC shift. This is why it was 48.25. And we've got a LVN here overnight creating a double distribution at 46.75. I'm actually going to use the value area low at 46. I'm actually going to move this down to encompass the mid and the value area, because I really want to be below this overnight low at 44.75 to look to push to. And this is why I was looking at that 42. I moved down to that 42. And then, of course, we've got the 38 down here, 38.50. Our daily ATR continues to compress again. We are back below 14.50. What do I say about getting below the 15 on the daily ATR? Watch for when we see the OTF coming in, okay, in the Globex. We are compressing in the RTH. We're ready for the continue the breakout. We got the breakout day. Now, do we get continuation and continue to go into price discovery and expansion of that average true range, because we're now below the 15. But currently, our 20-period full session ATR is running at 14.16. So off of the low overnight, I've got to adjust this, of course, because I had already put this in. So off of 44.75, our upside daily ATR is 58. Is that right? 44.75 plus 14.16, 59. And off of the high overnight of 51, minus the 14.16 takes us down to 36.75. Is that right? 51 minus 14.16. 36.75. Yep. And that's right above the FOMC number. And that's about all the information that we need from the overnight. I'm going to be paying attention to the 50 value area high. This is a valid value area. And then break below there, I'm looking for a move to 42, and then the 38, and then all our levels remain the same. We still have this gap down here between the range gap between 32.50 and 38.50, and then we've got the close gap at 31.50. So I'm going to be watching the mid of this gap zone against the range gap first. So 38.50. Oops. And 32.50. So the half gap fill is 35.50, right on top of that naked VPOC and naked close at 35.50 and 35.25. So that's our mid on our gap. So basically, we're in this smaller time frame downtrend. We so far came down and we only one ticked below this week low that we created at 45, likely to get that rotation up, create that handle on the inverted cup and handle, the rounding top. But my main hypothesis today, we are going to be opening up inside of yesterday's range, but we're going to be opening up below the gap, okay, and below the naked close if we hang around in this area. So my hypotheses are going to flip slightly, and I'm going to put this in very clear terms. My hypo 1 and hypo 2 are really hypo 1A and hypo 1B, because I have equal weight on what we do. Do we rest here and rotate, or do we get continuation? I'm not really looking for a big selling day, but I'm looking for a rotational day, back inside of Friday's wick if we get down there, and coming back into this balance before we get the continuation. So that is going to be my hypo 1. A is open auction in range, just outside of value or just inside of value, a rotation up into the 48 to 50 area, and then finding responsive sellers and rotating us down towards the 42, chopping between the 42 and the 47 and pushing through down to 38 and closing, okay, somewhere in the upper distribution or just inside of the value area on the micro composite. So somewhere between, I'd say, 34 and 38 is where we close. I'm not looking for a big day today, but we could get a late day probe down into the gap area down here at 35.50. So my main target on hypo 1A is the 42 and the 38. I would consider that to be pretty much completed in hypo 1 with the possible late day probe down into the 35 area and maybe even all the way down to close the gap, but we don't know. We don't know if that's a high probability. Hypo 1B is open auction in range. A pushed down to take out the overnight low, probably pushed down to the 42, maybe even 38, but finding responsive buyers down here and walking us back up into the 47, 48 area, chopping around in here with a late day probe one more time to put in a new all-time high, but closing somewhere in around the 47, 48 area. My hypo 3 is a open test drive, failure to to test the range low, but strong responsive buying up into the 50 area, chop around in the 50 area, and then push up and go up and get a continuation day. We're not going to get a gap and go day, but we can still get a continuation day, and we have range capabilities to get up into the 58.50 without getting beyond the 20-period daily ATR. And then hypo 4 is going to be open auction in range and basically early failure, move down towards the 38 to 40 area, chop around in here, and then come down, take out the 35, push down, and come right back into this balance and close somewhere down in the 27 area, 28 area. I think it's a lower probability, but this market is showing some responsive selling now in the shorter time frames, and let's see if the OTF take a hold of that and try to push us down, back into balance again, and see if they can take out some long stops down there. Taking a look at gold, it looks like gold has found its balance. I talked about this yesterday. Now I've adjusted my. I was looking at. I was talking to Murad FT71 yesterday, and he suggested switching the start date up on my composite. He's using 4, 12, 13. So I moved it up. It didn't really make a big difference, but I wanted to come back in line with what he was looking at and adjusting my charts accordingly. Going back to 2008 is fine. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Let me see if I can get this drawn before it kicks in. All right, so the 2-day balance is down here at the 46.70 area. We came down and tested, this CLVN down here. We need to hold this 46 here. If we can't hold this 46 and we get another push lower, there's really nothing holding us up until we get all the way down into the 32, 33 area. But we have made a 54.7 counter rotation off of that fractal high at 1298.80, and for me this is screaming to me basing pattern, okay, and then at least a $20 rotation back up and back towards that 1269. So we've got two really close composite VPOCs, 5680 and 69. If I switch this back to my start date of 10/09/08, so as you can see, as we move the longer time frame, price acceptance, bringing in that volume from before 2013 all the way to 2008, that the composite VPOC did shift down the other day, down to the 1256.90. So I am looking for them to rotate back above here if they can hold this 46. Anything below the 43, then I start to get a little bit more bearish and, look for this further expansion. But this down move is getting a little bit exhausted, with a 50, almost a $55 move. Doesn't say it can't go more. When was the last time we had that big of a down move? Been a while. So, I mean, I'm not seeing, there's 50.6 right there. There was one that was 97. That was the big one down. That huge move down. That was on the election, I believe. Yeah, the November election night. But other than that, we're beyond and expanded, beyond our average. We're basically, we're almost 2 times the average down rotation right now. We are 2 times, I should say, almost, we are. So just keep an eye on gold. One thing I'm watching for very closely on gold, and I'm going to close this out after I know I've gone long, is the 4-hour. You can see that the 4-hour continues to be trending down, and I thought it was going to break back above this. We really need to see this move back above the 9 on the 4-hour to get the confirmation of the turn of this downward trend. And we were starting to see it just a little bit earlier, and now it's come back. So 46 is my over-under line. 43 is my key line in the sand for a move and a continuation, counter rotation, I should say, on gold. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.